Well, hello everyone. This is Robin Carter. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas, and today I'm here to share my first set of alternatives with the August 2023 paper pumpkin kit named Meaningful Flowers. So I received this kit yesterday, so if you missed the unboxing video, it is in my channel. Just click on videos and it'll be the one before this one to check out all the goodies inside. So today, before I get started, I want to thank all of my subscribers out there. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're brand new to my channel, or maybe you've seen a few and haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing below and ringing the bell for notifications of when I post all my alternatives. I generally have at least 3 videos, although last month was the exception. But I think this kit is going to lead to a lot of alternatives given the supplies. So today I'm going to share how I make 3 alternatives using 1 envelope and some other basics supplies. So today I'm going to be using this envelope, and yesterday I showed how I just trim a little bit off the sides to open them up, and I was pleasantly surprised that this envelope was full color all the way through. So let me get the instructions out of the way and let's get started. So for my first alternative, I did use the envelope, and this is what I created right here. And so I have my supplies in this little 5x7 envelope. So these are items that I call my favorite things. And my favorite things are items that Stampin' Up! Does not carry, but it helps me organize my supplies for my videos and also just in general crafting. So I have stored all my goodies from the box into this 7x9 envelope. Anyway, a list of all of these things are in my video description box below. So if you're interested in getting those, there are safe links there to link to where I get these supplies. All right, so let me open up, sorry for the Velcro, but today I also want to highlight a new product that is coming in the mini catalog, which goes live September 6th. So this was a part of my pre-order. It's called the Distressed Tile 3D Embossing Folders. Now, if you've seen several of my videos, you know I love adding embossing. It just brings such detail, texture to your projects. With just this one addition, it can really ramp up your card. So for the card I made already, I used the Quatrefoil, and it's not a 3D, but it leaves a very deep impression. So it's in one of the large folders right here. And if you'll notice, when I do label all my embossing folders, because after you open them, nowhere does it tell the name. And so I like to be able to remember the name of them. This is a current embossing folder that is available for order right now. And I do have a new host code that's going through September 7th with that includes September 6th, which will be when the new catalog goes live. So if you find any of these products you would like to order now or on September 6th, when the mini goes live, I would appreciate if you would use my new host code. Any orders of $75 or more will receive a small gift from me. So anyway, this is what I wanted to highlight. So I'm going to go ahead and use it on this card. Set that aside. All right, so what I did is I opened up an envelope, one right here. I'm not going to take the time. You know how to open up an envelope. And then my downline, she showed me last month how she took just a damp paper towel and gently wiped off the adhesive on these envelopes. So as you can see here, you can't really see it. But since envelope paper is very fine, I decided to go ahead and emboss mine. Now this is a retired embossing folder called Subtle. I really wish they would bring that one back, but any of the gentle embossing folders would then take any rippling out of your flowers. So a good one to use is the painted texture one, or if you have the retired last year Tasteful Textile embossing folder, that would be a good one as well. So any embossing folder would take that off, or just leave it as is and try to smooth it out. So what I used on this card was let me see if I have it over here. I should. I use the dies from the Timeless Arrangements, and I do the same thing to my dies. I put the name here, even though it's back here, and I turn my dies to where I can see them this way. I also use a magnet, and the magnets are a part of my favorite things too. You want to make sure you get a strong magnet, and 30 mil seems to be the strong enough for my liking. So those are in the description box below as well. All right, so then I took the label out of this Timeless Arrangements and stamped the sentiment. And then I also used a twig or a little piece of leaves from this one. Now it does have interesting dies like this, and I really like how these you can cut and attach to your back of your label by adhering here, but I just decided to use one single leaf today. Okay, so let's get started making this one. So I have already cut it. Now one will be slightly smaller than the other one. I think this one is, let me get my ruler. The first one is almost 2.5, and this one is about 2 5/8. So I just needed to know that measurement for when I go to cut my garden green coordinating cardstock. So I'm going to get out my trimmer, and I have a piece of garden green cardstock already trimmed to 5 3/8. I think, yes, that's what I did this at. So make sure this one's 5 3/8 as well. I'll bring it down so you can see. Yes, that's 5 3/8. All right, and this one across was 2 5/8. So I'm going to make this one, I'm going to do a smaller border on this one, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if I can cut this to 275, and I trimmed on the long side at 5.5. So if this was my portrait paper, well, let me get a full sheet. Well, this shows the other half of what I have left. So if I have my 8.5 by 11, and I cut this way at 5 3/8, I can get 2.75 this way. So that's just a little paper saving technique that I do. You don't always have to trim it that way, but I can get more. When I need something 2.75, I can get more if I cut it that way first. Okay, so I think I like the small border. Let me get my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. Now I do like the little flower on the other side, and I may do another alternative using that one. But for today, I wanted to show how you can get 3 cards out of using just one envelope from the kit plus some additional supplies. All right, so I'm going to flip this over, and I do like using the liquid glue so I have wiggle room to try to get it centered to my eyes. Okay, that looks pretty good. So then I just give it a little rub so that there's no little glue wrinkles in the paper. Helps smooth it out. Okay, and then we're not going to adhere this yet. Now I had some retired yellow ribbon that I used here. I hate using retired stuff, but there is also some white ribbon around. I'm not sure if I have the current one. Let me grab my ribbon box. So I store all my ribbon in these shoe boxes, and I have quite a supply there of retired ribbon and goodies. But I try to buy ribbon when it's on the clearance rack. I will buy current stuff as well, but especially when it goes on the clearance rack, I like to grab up some to build up my supply. I'm going to use white on this one because I know we have some white ribbon on the that is current. Let me grab my little snips and open up this one. I like to do different things with my alternates in case you don't have those supplies and are interested in getting some. Plus white ribbon is pretty easily to come by. Well, I can't get this plastic off this one. I don't want to cut the ribbon. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to tie around this one, but I want to share my ribbon saving technique that I have done before, but I haven't done ribbon on cards in a while. So let me share that with you again. So I have a squirt bottle that should be big enough to go around. Really anything, you could measure the circumference of it, and so long as it goes over this, it will work. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that this one works. All right, so I use the bottle and I keep the ribbon on the spool. All right, and then I just go cross over. I needed a little more ribbon to tie my bow than that. Let me pull myself a little more. This ribbon is nice and light. All right, and then up and over. All thumbs today. Doesn't help that I have a rolling bottle, does it? But it'll make sense here in a minute. Okay, and then pull that way. All right, make a loop here. And then I need something to hold my bottle down. I need one more hand. This goes around. All right, and then I'm going to pull. Being careful not to lose the end of this one. So keep pulling it back until you have your ribbon, or your bow, excuse me. All right, so that looks good. I tend to like teeny tiny bows over big bows, but you can do whatever size you like. So there is my bow on the bottle. So I'm going to trim the tail, and these are my ribbon scissors. All right, so see, I didn't waste any off the spool. So then I have my bow, and I want it right in the middle. So this is the loop that went around the bottle, and I'm going to trim it in half. So see, then I can just attach this to the bottom of the card, although I'm going to flip it around because I want my tails going that way. This ribbon was really, really delicate. And so here's another trick. So when I cut it off the bottle, I cut it straight, and I do my tails at an angle. That way I remember which one was part of the bow and which one was not. And you'll want to be mindful of that, because if you pull the wrong one, it's going to come all apart. So let's get this, and then I simply just use some Scotch tape to hold it down. All right, there's my straight piece. Now this one didn't save a lot of ribbon. I probably could have used a smaller bottle, but that's good enough. It also helps, other than saving ribbon, it helps me to tie my bows better, and I'm not trying to stretch the cardstock. This ribbon is really light, but I'm fine with that right there. I may trim this tail a little bit. It's a little long for my liking. Do it more at an angle, and then get this one going the same direction. Okay, so that's how I tie bows on stuff. That may seem fiddly, but it goes a lot faster when I'm not trying to record it. So there we have that. And then I put this whole thing up on dimensionals. Now I have some dimensionals that I've already started, and I just tend to use those before I break into the new ones that Paper Pumpkin sends me. So here's a trick I also do. On the large dimensionals, I cut them in half. I find that a half is pretty good, And then you're spreading more around by using halves, half as much. So let me flip this over, get these on here. I do tend to use, I want it to be supportive, so I generally do it like this. I put one, if it's long, I do 3 on the sides and then 2 in the middle. So by using half pieces, let's see, I only use 2, 3 dimensionals. 1, 2, 3, 4 dimensionals instead of it looks like a whole bunch. All right, so let's peel off all the backings. Put my box back up. So I think I'm going to like this white ribbon better than the yellow. The yellow ribbon was kind of big. I like how dainty that is to go with the flowers. Now, if you have trouble getting things straight, I like to bring in my T ruler, which is also one of my favorite things. So I just kind of pick a border that I want. Okay, let's say that's good. Then I stick my card, and of course I can't be right over it, so I hope I get it centered piece right there. And now I have a straight line going for my layer. All right, so that's my T ruler, which is also part of my favorite things. And then I wanted to, a different sentiment for this one. So I wanted to also preview another one of my favorite stamp sets coming in the mini catalog. So it is So Sincere. Now, if you are mainly a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, some things I recommend getting are some nice sentiments that you can use for your cards if you don't like the ones that come in your kit. And I really like this one a lot. You're in my heart and prayers, and that's what I've stamped here. Hope you're feeling better soon, so a nice get well. Hope your day is a happy one. That would be a good birthday. And so anyway, and I do like this birthday that goes long like that. So, and this was a $1 million inspired stamp set, and I wish I knew who it was, but it will say in the catalog that I can't show you yet. So I can only show the cover. I can't open it up. But this is a stamp set that I think is a good one to have, and it will be available to order on September 6th, and the item number for this is 162283. So that's what I've used here. And I did make my own label using the timeless labels. This larger one right here. I really like these labels. They have stitching. I'm all about stitching, and this little X right there. So that's what I used here. Now I also like to share items that you may have in your kit. Now this leaf I die cut out of the Welcome In add-on dies that was available back in, I think that was the June kit. That could be added here if you have that. I'm going to use the twig that I die cut from the Timeless Arrangements. And so it's going to go right here. And I'm going to cheat and do the same thing. I'm going to do some Scotch tape. All right, just a little extra detail to this card. All right, so then I just need to put dimensionals on this side to help hold it up. Yep, on this side. And then on this side, I'll use adhesive liquid glue to hold it onto the card base. Okay, so here is 2 cards using the main design of the one envelope. I'll just put this away. I wanted to show you how I can do 2. So how do you like those? Pretty simple, basic layout, but I think it puts just enough flowers on there to give it the detail. Oh, I'm not in the camera. And then the nice embossing background adds a lot of detail. All right, so let's put these away. That's my first alternative. All right, so that's 2. And then I had the bottom part of the envelope. And I didn't want it to go to waste, so I created this card right here. And I do love the little stamp they gave us, so I wanted to use that as well. So for this one, I wanted to bring in some new dies that I just added to my collection. It's called the Radiating Stitches dies. And so that's what I did here. So let's get started with it. I'm going to bring out my Stamparatus. Now this is no longer available, but there are other stamp positioners out there. And this is just my favorite. I'm sad that it retired, but hopefully one day we'll be able to have one again when the other one's patent runs out. So, all right, so I already have a negative piece of this center that I have pre-die cut. All right, and so even though my one eye die cut wasn't straight, I put it in my Stamparatus using the grid. This is the deluxe mat that was available, so that it's straight. Okay, and then I put my flowers and my sentiment where I wanted it. So that way I can stick this in here. All right. Now I'm going to do the sentiment first, because if it doesn't come out clear, I have another backup one to do. Sometimes I get little fuzzies on my stamps and then it's not real clear. All right, so let's hope that one's clear. I give it a little press and a little time to absorb the ink. That one's still real sticky. All right, it came out clear, so that's good. And then I'm going to do, that was in the Memento black ink, and I'm going to do the flowers in a gray granite. And the only reason I want to do gray granite is I really don't want the outline to show real stark. I want it to be a soft look. So let me just go around with my gray granite spot. Sorry for the tap, 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 tap. Keep a little rubber band to hold it together. All right, and then let's stamp. And hopefully I got it all, or at least enough where I can then color. Okay, that's good. Okay, so there is not a garden green Stampin' Blends. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there has been a garden green blend. So I did find one in my watercolor pencils. Now, watercolor pencils are another great economical purchase to go with all of your stamping. And I have pulled out my garden green. I'm looking for the sleeves themselves. So this is from the retired one. They did refresh the colors a little bit. This is from the assortment 2, and it has the garden green in it. This one was the other one. I'm trying to, they did, of course, Pacific Point retired, and now they just call it blue. And then I think in one of these they added a fresh freesia, but I don't know which one they took out. So anyway, those are a good investment to add. But this is the garden green one. So I'm going to just color. Now, I do like to color with my Stampin' Pierce mat. It just gives me a little bit of cushion to color along. So I'm going to try to work quickly so I don't take up too much of your time. All right. So I realized just now I won't have a base because it's 3 cards, not 4 cards. But I'll show you the coloring and then you can get how I put it together. Okay, so that's that. And then I took Tahitian Tide blends. You could use a blender pen and Tahitian Tide ink if you wanted to. So I just take the dark first and I kind of go around the petals and any little markings. I see I missed a leaf. I'll get that in a minute. So I'm not going to switch in between. Generally, I switch in between. And this is my hair in the video. All right, so this one I'm gonna make some dark petals up there. Let me get this little guy. He can be all dark. Oh, there's another leaf I missed. Okay, let me go around with my light and then I'll get those other leaves I missed. So I'm trying to leave the star around the flower white because I did Google these forget-me-not flowers and they do have a white little star in the center and then a yellow or darker center. Since the ones in the envelope have a yellow center, I'm going to use the yellow. All right, now I can go back and get these green leaves that I forgot. Okay, now a good idea that I think Patty Bennett first shared was using the color lifter blends to help blend your watercolor pencils. Now she may have actually colored with them instead of the blender pen, but you can also smooth it with the blender pen. I do like using the color lifter because it doesn't peel my paper like the blender pen will if you do too much. Okay, so that's how I made that. I did use a piece of, I had one kind of colored in case I messed up. So I did use, this is a white card base. It's a thick card base. And then I have a layer of Tahitian tied cardstock and another one in case I messed up. And then the radiating dies. Now I do like that in white. I guess I could have just done this Tahitian tied and not have a white. But let me show you what I did here. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the envelope that I said I wasn't going to do, so I can show you how I made that. Get my trimmer back out. Okay, so I'm having to cut a second one just because it makes 3, not 4. Just going to trim this open real quick. I've shared before how I do that. All right, so once it's opened up, I wanted to use this green piece. So I did trim off these sides, and then I cut this piece to be equal dimensions of that. So let me get my ruler for you on that one. So it looks like 2 7/8 by 4 1/4 ish. So that's what I did for this card. And then I love these little brushed brass butterflies. Say that quick. Brushed brass butterflies. And so its item number, if you're interested in getting them, is 158136. And I just thought they added a nice little shine and detail to this card. And then I also have some, I think this is still current. It came out last year, Tahitian tied metallic ribbon. Now let me share a tip on it. So I'm going to just tie a bow here to go on the card. Oops, may have missed the tail. All right, now the tail of these tends to fray a great deal. So I didn't want it to fray a whole lot. So I'll show you what I did after I fussy tie my bow. It's kind of hard to hold tight too. Okay, doesn't want to hold well. All right, but that's good. So as you can see, that end is already fraying a little bit. But I said, you know what? I don't want those to fray. So I got some of the glue dots that we've received from Paper Pumpkin Kits, and I'm going to put it on the back of each one of those. So I'm going to use take my pick tool. Now I take the putty end off so I don't sit there and waste it. And I'm going to flip this bow over and put this glue dot right on the end so it won't continue to fray. All right, and then where I want it on my card, I'm going to put one for the center. Oops, I kind of got it on my paper. All right, so take off the backing. Then you can also lay your tails where you want them. Oops. It stuck to my paper. All right, and so then I can put that right where I want it and lay my tail, it's stuck to me, right where I want it. Let's try to move that one up a little bit. So that way we have our bow and the ends aren't going to continue to fray. So that's a little tip I just came up with today of one reason why I didn't like that ribbon is it frayed so much, but now I have a solution. So anyway, I did add that leaf layer here, and that's how I finished this card. So let me know what you think about these 3 cards from one card base. I'm just going to show this one, and then I have my other 2 close for review. So this shows how you can get 3 card alternatives from just one envelope layer. All right, here's 2, sorry, and then my 3rd one. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments below. I do like to read all of them, and I will read all of them. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button, because I will be making more alternatives with this kit. So thanks for joining me today. If you missed my unboxing again, it has been posted, the one before this one, and then this will be my first set of alternatives, and hopefully I'll have some more maybe Monday or Tuesday. So thanks for joining me. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.